The day is December 7th, 1941. Japanese bombers engaged in a destructive attack upon Pearl Harbor, an attempt at disabling America's Pacific Fleet. The Japanese successfully destroy over 300 U.S. aircraft and almost 20 ships, including 9 battleships. 2,400 soldiers, sailors, and civilian lives were also lost in the attack, a devastating blow to the United States.
This day would go down as the biggest mistake for the Axis forces throughout the entire war. On December 8th, President Theodore Roosevelt declares war on the Empire of Japan, and Germany, led by Hitler, declares war on the U.S., thus bringing America into the Second World War.
In Eastern Europe, many cultures, religions, and ethnic minorities suffered through the Holocaust. In all Nazi-occupied countries, millions of people, including over 6 million Jewish citizens, lose their lives at the hands of the Nazis. The Holocaust proves to be one of the most awful and gruesome time periods in human history.
The leaders of the Allied forces hold secret meetings discussing potential invasions of France. An invasion of this magnitude has never been seen before, so advanced equipment, arms, aircraft, and ships has to be collected from many different countries all over the world. But first, they would have to decide where they would land. The choice is between Normandy and an area on the northern coast of France. The northern coast provides the easiest place to enter, but also the most heavily guarded. So, they decided to strike at Normandy, which would provide the greatest surprise and most damage. British Special Forces and Spy Group MI5 are tasked with deceiving the German forces into believing that there would be many small invasions, but the biggest would be at Calais, the closest crossing into France. Constructing and moving equipment and landing craft would take a long time and even longer to do quietly. If the Nazis catch wind of the plans, there would be no chance at a successful operation. Finally, after months of planning and preparing, the Allies are ready.
The day is June 4th, 1944. Men are boarding landing craft, planes are being loaded, and the operation starts to take shape. Rain begins to fall, starting with a little drizzle. Next, a heavy rain, and now a complete downpour. It quickly becomes a thunderstorm. High winds prevent any craft, especially aircraft, from moving at all. The operation is delayed. The next day, rain continues to pour. Finally, a council of key elders in the Allied forces is called. If they postpone again, they will not be able to launch until July. The operation has key portions at night, requiring a full moon and tide patterns. Reports start to come in that the weather might be clearing up, and Eisenhower calls the start of the operation. Over 6,000 ships immediately begin to cross the English Channel.
To begin the assault, paratroopers are tasked with destroying Axis artillery and capturing key road junctions and bases. Success means greatly increasing the chances of a successful push at Normandy and preventing German reinforcements. Failure would make it nearly impossible. Planes drop paratroopers over Normandy behind enemy lines. Like falcons, the paratroopers swoop in from the sky. The operation starts out poorly, with paratroopers either landing too fast, breaking bones, landing miles from the drop site, or landing too slow while Axis soldiers pelted them with MG-42 fire on the way to the ground. Eventually, they begin to take the junctions and bases.
Allied bombers then start the air raid. However, the darkness makes it hard to see their target, resulting in massive collateral damage. But as dawn breaks, the sun comes up, and the bombers deal devastating destruction to German bases. At 6:30 a.m., only hours after the bombing run, the Seacraft is released, and the assault begins. 4,126 landing ships bring 156,000 troops, including 73,000 American troops, to shore, with Americans landing at Omaha and Utah, the British at Golden Sword, and the Canadians at Juneau. The fearful troops face upwards of 8,000 Germans, with many mounted on MG-42s located in pillboxes. Initially, the men heading towards Utah land in the wrong spot, but General Teddy Roosevelt redirects them.
There are lions on the battlefield and become the first to capture their beach. The fight at Omaha is a complete bloodbath. Thousands of Americans are ruthlessly gunned down by German MG gunners. Omaha Beach sees the fiercest fighting of the entire war. As the day wears on, waves of Allied troops repeatedly attack. Axis ammunition begins to run out, and the forces slowly begin to take Axis positions. Naval ships come dangerously close to the shore to provide extra vital support. By sunset, it's clear the Allied troops controlled the beach. Though a great triumph was achieved, tragedy struck Allied and German forces. Over 425,000 troops die, including over 200,000 Allied soldiers.
Thousands of soldiers lie wounded, dead, or missing with no chance of survival. Instead of a light tan, the sand is a bloody red. The soldiers who remain walk the beach, remembering those who gave the ultimate sacrifice and would go down as heroes.
The Allies then proceed to establish a bridgehead in Normandy, landing 54,000 vehicles and an additional 173,000 troops on the beach. Now with an army of 300,000 men, the Allies were ready to begin their march across France. The Allies marched westward, splitting up into squadrons of about 12 troops. Each battalion is tasked with capturing unique points necessary to continue the march across France.
The first step is to capture Cherbourg, a crucial port located on a peninsula northwest of Utah Beach. 600 men of the 507th and 508th Parachute Infantry Regiments attempt to cut off the peninsula. However, German forces received surplus reinforcements, making the capture incredibly difficult, especially at a town called Montebourg, where possession was passed back and forth between German and American hands. On June 18th, American troops finally squeezed German forces southwards out of Cherbourg, and the peninsula is in Allied hands.
Now, with a sturdy front line, the Allies sweep westward across the city of Caen. Caen is a heavily guarded French city that would require much more force than Port Cherbourg. The beachhead at Normandy accumulates a dozen British and Canadian divisions and 13 American divisions before the Allies are ready to invade. Allied bombers conduct bombing routes over the city, and on August 6th, Caen falls. German forces are pushed eastward.
American forces curved their route westwards towards Brittany, another port city on a peninsula further south. Task Force A lands on the coast of Brest, with a force consisting of 3,500 troops from 1st Tank Destroyer Brigade, the 6th Tank Destroyer Group, the 15th Cavalry Group, and the 159th Engineer Battalion. They secure railway bridges and capture Brest. With the western shore under control, the next task was to secure St. Malo, a small port town on the northern end of the peninsula. After a long fight, St. Malo falls. The 6th and 4th Armored Divisions enter the peninsula from the city of Avranches. The 4th Armored Division moves through the middle and captures all towns between Merdrignac and Huelgo, and reconnects with Task Force A at Brest. The 6th Armored Division moves south and captures the major towns of Rennes and Lorient, Brittany Falls.
Allied forces then encircle and capture the German 7th Army, mimicking Hitler's encirclement tactic, resulting in a massive catastrophe for the Germans. On August 15, 1944, Allied reinforcements land in southern France to finish the job and squeeze the Germans out of France. The second set of landings is successful, and the Allies set their sights on the final target, Paris. The 20th French Armored Division and 4th U.S. Infantry Division are tasked with penetrating into the heart of the city. They attack from the south and the west, and on August 25th, Allied forces complete their task, and France is liberated. The invasion is a success. Germans are squeezed out of France, and with it, 340,000 Jewish people residing in France were freed. After an unbearable 4 years, France is free of the Holocaust and Nazi German occupation. However, it comes at the cost of over 200,000 lives of brave Allied soldiers. Now, the Allies are left with only one more obstacle in their campaign: Germany.